Hi guys, here we are, and it is the second ship from Wave 20 of Attack Wing, and it's the USS Hathaway, seen in the second season Next Generation episode Peak Performance. Constellation class starship with those lovely 4 warp engines. Model itself is pretty small. Not much bigger, I think it's being extreme, but not much bigger than the Delta Flyer, to be fair, it feels. But they've avoided doing that horrid silver coating that all the Federation ships seem to have got recently. So it's nicely, actually, I'm quite impressed. It looks nicely weathered. It's got a bit of depth to it. It feels old. They've actually done a pretty good job of kind of recreating the feel that this was a kind of worn and a bit battered starship. So I really like what they've done with this one. It looks really nice. The nacelles aren't straight, as you can see. From the back they are straight, but from the side you can see there's a sort of a leaning on the bottom ones, which is a bit of a shame. But overall, I think they've done a pretty decent job with this miniature. Considering the size of it, they've got a lot of the lining on it, a lot of the detail on the engine, the nacelles, the venting, the exhausts, the panel lines on the hull, the detail on the bridge module on the top. Overall, pretty impressive, and it's the same, as you can see, on the underside as well. They've actually managed to get, I'm going to take this off just to show you really, they've actually managed to get a bit of the detail on the underside the same, so it is really clear. They've even got those 2 unusual sort of sensor lumps that they put on there, and they're each individually different as well, which is really nice that they've managed to actually get that in there, plus all the sort of shuttle bay detail across the edge of the hull. So a cracking little miniature, very, very small, but still perfectly formed, and probably one of the best they've done for some time, even down to detail in the middle of the engines there. Look, that's just really nicely done. So, USS Hathaway. It is Constellation class starship, as we said, similar to the Stargaze, which was Picard's ship from previous the Enterprise and from the episode The Battle from the first season. Let's take a look at the Hathaway. So it is Constellation class, 3 attack, 1 defense, 4 hull, 3 shield. You've got 2 options to put 2 crew on there, a weapon and a technical upgrade to the ship. 22 points in total. Standard Federation, evade, target lock, scan, and battle stations. If you remember, this was a ship that was used for a war game against the Enterprise-D, and as such was kind of a bit ramshackle, didn't have a lot of features, and then the crew kind of upgraded it. So the pack is built very much around that episode. So during the activation phase, you can perform a second action from your action bar as a free action. If you do, you place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. Pretty standard fare, as we kind of usually say at this point, that you can do a second action from the action bar, or they give you the option of an action that you can then use, but you have to incur that auxiliary power token. So a bit of flexibility when it comes to your actions as to what you can do. Nice little feature, not very groundbreaking, but it is an older ship, so I guess it's keeping in feel with it being a little bit not quite as advanced as some of the stuff that you get from Enterprise-D and E. Maneuver-wise, it is pretty maneuverable. If some of that does incur some auxiliary power tokens, there's no 180 at 3 or 2, but you do get the full banks and the 90-degree turns at the 2 and 3 range, plus you get that return, that reverse at 1, greens at 1, a green forward at 2, and up to a speed of 4. So maneuverability, there's a lot of things you can do with it. You are going to incur some penalties if you do try and do some of the harder stuff, the 3 90-degree turns, and the come about. But overall, there is a nice range of movement there for a ship of this size and this price, because it means 22 points. You are getting a lot of movement, not a lot of speed, so it's not going to give you a Voyager 6 or anything like that, but it'll still give you enough movement that it's going to cause your opposition to think about what you're going to be doing. The generic version of the Constellation class does lose the unique action. It also loses, and this is quite unusual, it actually loses 2 of the upgrades. So you actually lose your tech and 1 of the crew upgrades, plus losing 1 of your shield points to take it down to the 20 points. There's quite a lot that you actually do lose, and that's quite unusual. Usually it's only 1 upgrade that you lose, but here you are losing 2. As for your captain upgrade options with the Hathaway, you do get the standard generic Federation captain using a picture of Glenn Morshower there for the generic one, and Captain William T. Riker, who commanded it against the Hathaway against Picard, who was commanding the Galaxy-class Enterprise-D. So when attacking a ship with a large hull value than your ship, as Riker did in the episode, in fact, you gain 1 attack die. When defending against a ship with a larger hull value, you also gain 1 attack die. So Riker's actually one of those captains that's worth putting onto a smaller ship. So particularly things like, Delta Flyer that you had in Wave 19 and the smaller Federation stuff, he's going to be very, very beneficial to use to give you that extra benefit. You're going to turn this from a 3 attack into a 4 attack, or a 1 defense into a 2 defense if you're using it on the Hathaway here. Riker's skill as well is a 7, so he's going to be in the sort of higher echelons of the attacking. So he'll be like one of the first to attack, but one of the latest to move. Plus he's got a points of 4 and carries that elite action as well. So he's got a nice bit of flexibility. I like the fact that he benefits smaller ships, this version of William T. Riker. There are a few Rikers that I've got in the pack. You've got one with the Pegasus, you have 2 with the Enterprise-E and the Enterprise-D. So there's a lot of him out there, but this one I like because of the fact it's going to give you that extra bit of attack and defense. So a nice little option, particularly if you're looking at using him on smaller ships. The one elite action that you do get is called Improvise. It's a 5-pointer. It's a disable rather than a discard, so 5 points for a disable is quite good. During the combat phase, when attacking or defending, you can disable this card and any number of your other upgrades to reroll a number of attack dice or defense equal to the number of upgrades you've disabled. Not including the improvised card. So you can disable 2 upgrades, for example, and then reroll 2 of your attack or defense dice. You can't reroll 3 because this improvised card isn't included in there. Nice that it's a disable, so you can re-enable it and reuse it. So it's a bit like target lock in some respects, because you've got the ability to change your dice. But with this, it works on a defensive point of view as well. So you have only got that 1 defense dice to begin with. If you're attacking something bigger, you're going to get 2. So then you could disable 2 of your upgrades of the 4 that you could maximum put on this ship, and that would give you a bit more flexibility in the game and potentially get this ship lasting a lot longer during play. As for your crew options with the Hathaway, it keeps in line with the episode. So we get a Geordie, a Worf and a Wesley. So they are all worth 5 points. So we'll start with Wesley. Now I'm not sure we've had a Wesley Crusher option before, certainly not with Enterprise-D. So he's a 5-point crew, unique again, indicated by the star as they always do. At the start of the game, you can place 3 Federation tech upgrades, each of 4 squadron points or less, face down under this card. During the activation phase, you can discard this card to flip one of those upgrades and deploy it even if it exceeds your ship's restrictions. If you do, remove the other 2 upgrades and place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. So it works similar to the Shinzon card from the Scimitar, where you could place a number of cards beneath him and then pick one during the game to use. So with this one, you've got the option of, and I like the fact that it specifies that each of these cards has to be 4 SP, because if you remember with the cryogenic storage on the Taong, which was about 2 or 3 waves ago, there was no specification if it was each of the cards was 4 SP or if it was 4 SP in total. So I would now assume that it's 4 SP on each card. You can then pick the one that applies best to where you are within the game on your tech, and then drop that into the game and remove the other 2. So you can, those points could be the points that it's going to be could be quite higher than the ship. It might be, you've got a 4 SP, but it might be higher than what you've got because you're going to use all your upgrades to max out the ship. So you're going to have at least four points on top of that to have a kind of bonus upgrade through Wesley. So effectively, you're getting a 9-point upgrade with Wesley for 5 points. So it's quite a useful card to have purely. So you can play around and have at least some options during the game with your tech upgrades. So with Worf, another version of Worf we've got. I mean, I don't know how many we've got now. This is another one. We've already had one with the Rataran, Wave 19. I think we had one in Wave 18, probably in 17 and 16 as well. Again, unique. When defending, you can disable this card, and if you do, the attacking ship rolls 1 for your attack die and cannot spend its battle stations or target lock tokens to modify its attack roll, and your ship may roll its full defense dice in spite of the presence of any scan tokens beside the attacking ship. So you are getting the advantage that you're reducing the effectiveness of their attack against you. It doesn't attack with as many dice. If you think about it, it works quite well, particularly because a lot of the ships that will be attacking it will be larger. If you're looking at using Worf on the Hathaway specifically. So if you put him onto a smaller ship, it is, again, it seems these upgrades are all built around putting these characters onto a smaller vessel. So you are going to have the advantage that you can still be at your full defense, whereas other people will have not as much to attack you with. So the 1 or 2 attack dice that you may end up with are going to be a bit of a benefit on this one. Good thing that scan tokens aren't going to affect you as well. So there is a lot of benefit of taking Worf from this pack. Geordie is your techie guy. So again, crew upgrade, 5 points. All of your tech upgrades cost 1 SP, 1 squadron point less, which is great. So you've got 2 with this pack, which we'll come to in a minute. So they would cost 1 point less if you were using those. When defending during the defense dice step, you can disable this card to roll 1 additional defense dice for each tech upgrade deployed to your ship. So effectively, you could take up to 3 defense die with the Hathaway. Seeing as it's got a 1 defense already, as we can just see there, it's got a 1. And there are 2 that come with the pack. So yeah, you could use both of those technically. Although, if I'm correct, there is only 1 tech upgrade slot that the ship starts with. Indeed, I am correct. The Hathaway only starts with 1 tech. So you could, with this, probably only go up to having another 1 tech slot. Even though he does mean that you can, have 1 SP less if you're buying those. So you are going to make a little bit of a saving. But remember, it's not going to be maxed out too much unless you put another upgrade, which will add you a tech slot on. So I think B'Elanna from Voyager does that. So you could stick her on there. You'd have another tech upgrade slot, which would increase it to 2. And then you could maybe put Geordie on as well, which would mean you'd get some extra defense dice. But he's there really to bolster this single dice that you've got. Okay, as we said, tech-wise, there are 2 tech upgrades you get with it, which is a warp, jump, and navigation station. So we'll just look at navigation station first, which is a 4-pointer. After you perform a green maneuver, so you've only got those at range 1 and then the forward at 2, you can disable this card to immediately perform an evade action as a free action. No ship can be equipped with more than 1 navigational station upgrade. Nice little piece, getting you out of trouble. Gives you a little bit of an advantage in to get yourself somewhere else, but it's perhaps not as effective as the warp jump one, which we've seen several times before in numerous guises. Dauntless, Krenim Imperium time ship, and numerous others, I think. At the start of the combat phase, before any attacks made, you can discard this card to remove your ship from the play area. At the end of the combat phase, after all the ships have attacked, you can place it back into the play area, but not within range 1 to 3 of any other ship. All tokens which were beside your ship are removed, and you can't attack. So basically, that's get out of jail free card if we'll play Monopoly. This one, you can stick this one on. It is a discard, but I understand why it's a 5-point discard, because this effectively resets your entire ship during the game and saves you a lot of issues. It gets rid of any baggage that you've got. Yeah, you'll lose some tokens if you've targeted anything, but this is going to give you a bit of an extra life. And then you've got your things like your navigation station maybe as an extra one. If you're using Geordie on here, of course, that will reduce the cost down to 4, but it's a nice one, particularly to have a smaller ship, because it is going to save you a bit of hassle maybe later on in the game when things aren't going too well. The other card that you've got in the pack is photon torpedoes. Pretty standard time tokens, target lock, range of 2 to 3 and 5 points. I don't really go through the photon torpedoes one. You get one pretty much with every pack, so I have a set of cards which is just photon torpedoes now, because there are that many in the box. The mission itself, which comes with the pack, is, as you would be unsurprised to hear, based around the peak performance episode. Now, we've already had the Ferengi Marauder Creature, which was from that episode and had a similar situation. What the difference really is between that one and this one, so this one you do require planet token and 5 mission tokens. While that one only specified a Federation ship, you now have the specification that it is the Hathaway and the Enterprise-D, which everyone should have from their initial starter set. So this one is quite specific. It kind of narrows it down a little bit more, because that creature had been released and this one hadn't. At least with this one, you've got the absolute specifics of that precise episode. admittedly, you could have recreated it anyway if you got maybe Stargazer from a previous competition. But now you have the 3 ships from that episode, so you can recreate that incident precisely. Again, it goes down to the Federation ships can't actually use any of their weapons for about 5 goes because of the battle simulation that was taking place when the Marauder arrived. So it's kept it quite similar to the episode itself. So I can say I've kind of already played that one, and it's okay. It's a standard sort of 2-player one, based around that sort of planet atmosphere. Just pop Riker on there. I know I've had to put it on one stand because the focus wouldn't get on this one. So that is your USS Hathaway, the second ship we've covered from Wave 20. We've just got one more to do. I'm sure if you've been following Attack Wing, you know exactly which one that's going to be. So yeah, nice little pack. Not massive amount of groundbreaking upgrades in there. Nice model to go with it. Ship looks cool. Pack's pretty, yeah, I'd say it's pretty average, apart from maybe that warp jump, which is a nice one to have on a Federation ship. But yeah, there we go. So that's our second one done, and we will see you very shortly for the third and final one from Wave 20.
Transfer complete.